Tonight, we're trying to share a little bit about Kira, get you involved, get you on board, let you see what the platform has to offer, and understand that Kira's primary purpose, its primary function, is to help close those standards gaps with the kids and get them up to speed to where they need to do, while eliminating or at least minimizing the feeling of being overwhelmed and burned out that teachers are facing. It's a way to create an interactive lesson that engages students and keeps them involved and automates the daily administrative task that AI was actually built for. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you. Before we get started, my name is Harl Rain, and I am just trying to share a little bit with y'all and help y'all understand how much it's helped me and my family. So when I'm sharing the screen with you, you see that this is the Kira page. When you come on to Kira, you got to understand they have a demo available. Please take your time, go through the demo, watch it, get comfortable with it, whatever it is you feel you need to do. The key to getting into Kira is understanding that it's okay to fail. You're going to get in there and you're going to build some stuff, and some of it's going to be great and you're going to want to keep it. And the rest of it's just going to be hot garbage and you're going to want to let it go. It's part of the process. Understand that I try to tell people all the time, Kira is not a solution that you're going to implement tomorrow. Now, you can create a mini lesson, you can assign it to your kids and they're going to get at it. But more often than not, if you do that, you're never going to truly implement it the way it was designed. Kira is not a replacement, it's a supplemental tool. It can be used standalone, it can integrate with what you got. But if you want it to be effective, if you want it to actually do what it's intended to do, it's going to take time to plan out. As you create these lessons, we're going to show you how to build collections and put all your stuff in there. And then later you'll be able to create your own course. There's so much potential for what this can do for your classroom. And the benefit that your kids get out of it is amazing. So first off, let's go ahead and look at the platform itself. In the upper right-hand corner, you'll see this link that says Start for Free. Teachers get a free account to Kira. That's it. And here's the other thing. This is what a lot of people miss. There is no freemium. There is no free tier. It's just a free plan. A lot of other companies out there, they started because teachers retired or they quit and they built something around what they want. And they're an inch wide. They might be a mile deep, but they're an inch wide. Kira started with tech people who understood the potential that it had and what they could do. And then they brought in teachers as advisors and they kept adding, originally for CTE and expanding out into other subjects. It's designed to be a one platform. And by consolidating everything in there, it cuts out so much work for the teacher. There is no more cutting and pasting from all these different tabs. There is no cutting and pasting from different applications. and no, it's all done within Kira. Kira does it all. So make sure that you hit your Start for Free button. Once you do this, it's going to take you to the registration screen. You can sign up with your email address. I'm going to go through the process. I will not finish it. And you'll hit continue with email. You'll put in your first name, last name, and you'll create a password. And hit continue. Now on this screen, This is where you'll pick your role as a teacher, educator, librarian, social worker, guardian, instructional coach, or administrator on whichever level you are. Here I select teacher. I'm going to pick the country of the United States, and then I will pick my school. I teach at Collierville High School, located in Collierville, Tennessee. Now, once I did this, I would go to create account and it would go ahead and sign me up. I'm not going to do this because I already have an account and I don't want to cause any issues with the platform. So I'm going to give you just a moment to finish setting up your Kira account. While you do so, I've got another song for you. See if you recognize this one.
Three brothers from Wyoming, they're a curious clan, with a wagon full of snap beans and a dastardly plan. They're sharp as a chatter, slicker than brie, slinging legumes at strangers, oh what a spree. Oh, the bean-slinging bandits, sly as can be, with a flick of a wrist and a crop of string beans, heading to Wisconsin where the cheese dreams gleam. They'll rob you blind and laugh in a creamy scheme.
That was called the Bean Slinging Bandits. And in case you didn't figure that one out, that's another AI tune. My students, whenever they perform a task and they complete a lab ahead of schedule with a higher score than we set as a class average, they get to create an AI song and they try to break the algorithm with every chance it's in them. So this one was about three brothers from Wyoming who go around robbing people by throwing string beans at them because they're headed to Wyoming and they're buying cheese and they're going to take the money from the people they robbed to buy a safe deposit box to put their cheese in. And believe it or not, it can always still find it. That's the great thing about this. So now that you've all got your account set up and you load in, it should take you to your home. Now your home page, this is great. This is the kick right here. As you get into your home page, this has got tons of tools across the top. Now, these AI tools that are located across the top are your go-to for pretty much everything. Now, if you're wanting a quick grader, rubrics, study guides, feedback, I mean, they're all right here. This individualized IEP plan right here, this individualized education plan, the IEP, going through it, phenomenal. It really helps me think about different ways to provide accommodations to some of my students. Now, whether you're making a quiz or an assessment, but just make it relevant is also a great tool. I got tired growing up of hearing work it this way and circle your answer. And my question was always, well, when am I going to use this? Well, make it relevant gives you that opportunity. All of these tools built in right here on the home screen, everything is loaded for you. Now, on the left side, you're going to see your home, your dashboard, library, create. If you want to see those AI tools in a different format, select the create. Now, here's your AI tools in a table. All your tools easy to sort through and see what's going on. Now, another thing that I like, because this is a new layout, I like that my plagiarism checker and my AI content detector are worked in right here with my AI assistant tools. Now, you notice that they break it up, assist tools and creation tools. Creation tools are set up different because you're going to use those when you're creating your lessons, getting everything in there. And we're going to walk you through this. Now, evaluation, that's where you're going to find your grade book and your quick grader, and managing are where you manage your assignments, your students, and your sections. It's outlined nice and neat. Everything's easy to find. From here at the home, first things first, I believe in the description, I said for veteran or new teachers alike, we're going to assist you with activating your account. Check one. You got you to create your account, so we know we're good with that. I keep referencing my secondary screen to make sure I'm staying on track. Now, the next thing we need to look at is adding your student section. So if you're going to add a student section, that's your dashboard right here. When you select your dashboard, it's going to show you your active courses. Now, if you look, I have no courses, no sections loaded. So I'm going to need to load one. The first thing I'm going to do is come up here under Browse Courses. Now, understand that this is going to list a ton of information that's in here. I'm going to select courses from the drop-down menu. And I can see where I've worked with some of these from my other classes before. I'm going to find this one that says, Welcome, Get Started with Kira. And when I open up this course, it is a short, one-step, one-page tutor that walks you through what's happening. Okay? This is just designed to give you an idea, and it's a starting point so that you can establish your own course. Here, I'm going to hit Create a Section. I'm going to select the year. I'm going to give the section a name, Kira 101, Introduction, pardon me, Introduction to the Basics. And I'm going to hit Create Section. Now, doing so, you got different ways that you can do this. Do you have your students' emails for your class? If you do, you can type in those emails here. If you don't, you can actually click the share URL. This is now going to give you a link code that you can copy. You can copy that, load that into your LMS, load it into your whatever your mass emailer is that you're using to contact your course, or you can put it in there. I usually put it in there and then let the kids click on it and sign up. If your school does have the integration with Kira, this will already be taken care of and your courses will be auto-rostered, and the point is kind of moot. But either way, if you don't want to do that, you can hit skip for now. Once you do, oh, excuse me. Here we go. Now, when I go back to my dashboard, you'll see here is my course. Kira 101, Introduction to the Basics. The three dots that are stacked on top of each other, my snowman, if you will. When you click on it, it gives you your settings. You can go in, check your roster, invite other students, archive the class, quick grader. Now, remember, anything that we do, we can take and we can share with our partner teachers to make sure there's fidelity with the way that it's being taught. And that's going to be a big deal. Your teacher resources, you have none because this is not a loaded course at this point. It's a blank course so that you can load in what you need for your students and create personalized assignments and lessons. If I want to create another section, I would, again, pick the year. I would give it another name, and then it would load a second section that I could load yet another group of students to. So if you have multiple blocks, you want to make sure you're keeping the right kids in the right block. This is where you would do it. If you're an elementary school teacher and you're by periods or blocks, that's fine. But if you're a partner teacher, you could have your morning and afternoon classes. Some elementary schools break up math and science with reading and English. However, the transition is, you need to break that up. That's what it's there for. But this is the key. You've got your course. You've created your section. Now all you have to do is invite your kids. And again, if you click on that, it takes you back to where you can enter their emails, or you can just give it to where you can share the URL and they can auto sign up. The choice is yours. So we got you to create your course. Check one. We've got you so far to add a student section. We've done that. We've talked about how to add your students. Perfect. Now, all we're left to do at this point tonight is we're going to be talking about creating an interactive lesson. Now, don't get ahead of yourself. There's a lot that goes with creating an interactive lesson, and you can make these as basic or in-depth as you want. The choice is yours. Now, you don't have to add your students. You don't have to add your students. At this point right here, I ran into a librarian while we were at TCEA, and she said because she wants to load the lessons in there and be able to present the lessons on the board, because she sees every student in the school as she teaches these lessons. So she wants to create individualized lessons for the grades, change the collections by grade, and then just use it to present and go through the kids interactively that way. Again, the choice is yours. Cura allows you the freedom to be the teacher you've always wanted to be, but you never knew how to quite get there. It's a bridge, and this bridge is pretty awesome, so I want to walk you through a little bit of it. Let's go back to your home. So you see where this says Lesson Studio? This is what I want you to click on. I want you to click on that Lesson Studio. Once you select the Lesson Studio, this is going to walk you through creating a lesson with AI. Now, how many of y'all have teachers, or you might be a teacher? You've spent so long creating your lessons. You put a lot of blood, sweat, tears, and years into fine-tuning these PowerPoints and different types of presentations, whether it be Prezi or whatever, your Canvas or your Google Slides, and you've got everything the way you want them, and you don't want to throw them away. I mean, teachers are very proud of what they create. We're not telling you to. We're not even asking you to. Cura is a tool that can create a lesson for you, but it can also be used just to create an interactive activity or interactive assessment for your student. It can do everything from one question to an entire curriculum. Again, it's whatever you need. So if you've got all of that stuff that you've built, look over here where it says import content. You can load it from the web. You can import it directly from your Google Drive, or you can upload the files, whatever, PowerPoints, PDF, documents, whatever it is you have, load it in there. When you do that, it will create a lesson using your content as the basis. Then you can change it. Paste or prompt. Paste or prompt is awesome for people who need mini lessons, or they need a lesson in which their standards and objectives haven't been loaded into the Cura platform yet. If I wanted to use paste or prompt to create a lesson, I would pick my grade level, I would pick the duration, I would pick the lesson type, I would paste my standard in there, and then if I had a presentation, I could still load it right here where it says upload content. Now it creates a standard aligned lesson based off what my desire is and the presentation that I want to use. I'm just creating a student activity. If you want to create an entire lesson, that's over here from Choose Standards. Here, let's build a sample one. Let me show you what it's like. I'm going to come down here to Tennessee, since that's where I'm teaching. I'm going to pick the subject of math. And I don't know, maybe 5th grade. Well, when I look at fifth grade math in Tennessee, there's a ton of objectives. And if I was a fifth grade math teacher, I would know which objective I was looking for, but I might not. So I can click, let's see. If I was looking for this, I could have like, if I typed in multiply, or I would then have all of these objectives with multiplication. I could also type in something like mixed fractions. You're add and subtract fractions with unlike denominators, including mixed numbers. Okay, great. Once you select this, you hit next. I still have an option to create a special theme for the unit or lesson. See, you got to understand these objectives sometimes are so large you can teach on them for weeks. So what specific thing are you looking at about this? You identify that there. Again, here, you can still upload your content to use as a reference. But what makes Kira so much, to me, so much superior to everything else out there is when you hit generate outline. Now, at this point right here, Kira is going to try to generate an outline that talks you through adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. Now, with other platforms that are out there and resources, it's going to create some form of an outline. That outline may or may not be exactly what you're looking for. The difference with Kira is that that outline that it creates is fluid. As I go to look down, right here in the corner, you see Kira. Now, the thing with Kira is if she's spinning, she's thinking. So we're going to give her a moment, and you'll know when she's done because it'll switch over and she'll disappear, and it'll ask us if we want to generate the lesson. Well, let's look at these sections as we go through here. It's starting off, first off, your learning targets. Man, every teacher's got to have that on the board. The learner will add fractions with unlike denominators by finding equivalent fractions. The learner will subtract fractions with unlike denominators by creating equivalent fractions. The learner will solve mixed number addition and subtraction problems. Again, these are phenomenal. It identifies it all right here in the outline so you know what you're working with. First off, here's your hook. It's a pizza party problem. I don't know if that's because Kira understands my obsession with pizza, or it's just conveniently that was worked into the lesson, but I'm already intrigued. First, here's your hook. It takes about 7 minutes. After that, introducing unlike denominators and the need for common ground, 8 minutes. Finding common denominators, the strategy revealed, 9 minutes. Adding fractions with unlike denominators, step by step, 8 minutes. Connected to the standards right here for reference. Subtracting fractions with unlike denominators, 8 minutes. Guided practice, fractions with unlike denominators, 9 minutes. Working with mixed numbers, adding and subtracting, 9 minutes. Independent practice, real world applications, 10 minutes. Reflect and closure, 2 minutes. Well, what would you want to change? As you think through this, you got to understand, number one, this outline is fluid. And I can set it up any way that I want to before I'm done. So this talks about visual fractional models, everything here. After that, I could honestly just hit return and say, include 5 multiple choice problems for mastery. That 9 minutes, that's going to take us a little while longer for us to go over those questions. So I change it to 15 minutes. I've now adjusted the time and the information that's in there. I can grab these and change them and put them in whatever order I want to, each of your sections. When you get down here to the bottom, this reflection enclosure, I want to include another step. So I click the add step. I call it exit ticket, because whenever I make my stuff, I have to have it include a exit ticket question where students explain what they learned. I'm not even telling it if I want it to be a short answer, long response, whatever. But I think now by looking at this, you can tell that you have got total control over the way this outline is. The outline itself, if you could print that, would keep you on track and help you stay focused on creating your lesson. But instead, I hit generate. Now, this is where we cook. Over here on the left side, this is the actual interactive lesson that it's going to build. It's working its way through it right now. You got to understand, all of this is going to be filled up with material for those students. This chat window right here, well, that's to assist you with the details that you're not 100% comfortable with. And I'm going to walk you through that too. But I'm going to close that window for a second. Right now, what I want you to look at is this here in the middle. If you look, it's already said fraction action, adding and subtracting with unlocked denominators. It's giving us an image to try to help explain what's going on. Below that, a tricky pizza puzzle. Gives you an imagined scenario, and it's actually gone through and found a YouTube video. Now, look, I understand YouTube's blocked in so many states because of the social media classification that it has. But these are education tagged YouTube videos, which your IT department can make sure go around, bypass that YouTube filter so that you have access to, as well as your students in the classroom. Don't have to look them up. It's taken care of. Now, the other cool thing about it is that these videos, when it loads them, the first thing that's going to happen is it's going to take a transcript of that video, and it's going to look through that video to find key points in that video, and it will add those questions into your lesson. Now, these pop-outs, anything like this to get attention and make sure the students are watching everything that's going on. It's going to ask questions here or there. Again, it generates all the images. It's loading all the information based strictly off your standards. How do we find a common denominator? It's going to talk about the least common denominator for 1/4 and 1/3 so that you understand that the least common denominator is 12. And it'll walk you through. It shows you how to convert your fractions, has quick tips. Now, and if you look right here, I do believe I said I wanted 5 multiple choice problems that it built in right there. Now, unfortunately, I probably wasn't looking well enough whenever I threw that in there to see what all was going on. It might not be the best spot to put that. This is just a demo lesson to walk you through. Again, addition algorithms helps you understand with examples worked out, your check for understandings, and all of this continues to run down the entire page as it feels. It's still got a ton of work to go, okay? But what you need to understand is that while this is building, and it does take a few minutes to build, but the reason why is because every question that Kira loads is going to be tagged specifically to your objective, so that later on, once your school has the integration, that you'll have a student profile page where you can chart standard mastery for each student and assign remedial lessons to make sure that they get up to speed. Everything is built into this for the children to be successful. Okay? If you want to see what the student sees, that's this right here. Okay? They come in, they have to go to the next step. Now, if you look over here, you see how all these steps are locked. That's a phenomenal thing because that's right here. I've got these steps locked so that the students have to go through one right after the other. They can't skip around. And in the event that I'm absent, it means that my sub is just working essentially like a facilitator. They're not having to teach it. They're just making sure that the kids are online doing their work. The kids are watching the videos, answering the questions, responding with short and long answers. Again, now any multiple choice, auto graded, done. No big deal. But what I do like about it is that short responses or long response are auto scored by a rubric. And then you decide when to release those scores to the students. You can go through there and look at what it suggests and go, oh, I love that. I love that. I love that. And then you get to one and be like, that student's been working really, really hard, and you want to give them a couple extra points and then change the feedback to say, oh, keep up the good work. You can then release it all to them. You choose if that's on or off. If you want the kids to skip around, turn it off. If you want them to follow step by step, keep it on. Over here in the lower right-hand corner, this little purple circle, that is the Kira Tutor. This is a personalized tutor for the students in the class. Now, you can turn that on or off by lesson. You don't have to turn it on at all. You can leave it on all the time. It's up to you. And your AI policy is developed by your school district. But one of the cool things about this is that it doesn't give the answers to the students. Kids will try to break it. They're like, what's the answer to number 4? It won't. It just redirects. But I'll need to get to one of those. So here, let's see. No questions yet. They will appear there. Oh, here we go. So I'm getting ready, and I need to know what's going on. I don't know what the answer to number 1 is. And I say, what is the answer to question number 1? Well, I can help you think through it. What do you notice about the sizes of the pizza pieces, Maya and Jordan A? Now you see where we're going. Kira redirects and helps tutor the student, but won't give direct answers. That's why I like the AI tutor that's there. Some of the concepts as they get older become more in depth. And these advanced concepts that AI tutor can really help them put the pieces together. We've looked through the student view a lot. Let's jump out and see how everything else is looking. So we're back into just the overall preview right here. Again, the questions haven't loaded yet. They're going to get there. Oh, sorry. You see, it's actually generating 5 questions. It says that right now. Each one of these diamonds indicates a stopping point in the video in which the video will become locked until the student answers it, as long as you have the locked slider on for the students. As we continue down the page, it will finish generating the images. But as we look down, you can see there is so much more that is added. And it included my exit ticket at the end. So let's scroll down there to see what that looks like. Which fraction is equivalent to 3/4? What's the LCD? The addition algorithm. This is a pretty in-depth little lesson here for a 5th grade class. Let's see what this looks like. As we scroll on down, we look out for regrouping, borrowing, and subtraction. Independent practice where they actually get to work on these. We get beyond this. Great work. Let's wrap it up. What are some of the key takeaways? Let's look at this self-assessment. Let's look at some reflection questions. And now let's show what we know. It chose to give that in multiple choice questions and one long response. Now, with each of these, you'll be able to create a rubric or assign a rubric if you want, in which it'll auto score it based off what you put in there. This is a pretty massive lesson, something that I really, really love. Now, I don't know what you think about it. The lesson itself is awesome, but let's go a step beyond. Okay. Say you want a different image right here at the front. Well, if you have one, delete it and upload your own image. Look down here at the bottom, these controls, text. These bring up options for what you can do. Media. Here, add an image, video. Embed your Google Doc, your Google Slides that you have, you can embed them directly within the lesson. You can add different charts and graphs, different math features like your graphing calculators and stuff, different interactive things. I personally love the read and chat. It allows me to put a section of text in there, and then I set the chat window for 5 minutes. And I'll tell the students that they've got, so long to look over this and review before their test or their quiz. But all of this can be built in there. What you don't see is that the fact that many people are uncomfortable with these tools because they are new and they don't know what they do. The solution for that is ask Kira AI. Boom, the lesson's done generating. Let me know if you want to make any edits. Sure. Okay. I want to go back up here to the top. Step number 1. So in slide 1, change the image to a more elementary themed image. I don't really know if that'll work or not, but if you give it a second and you tell it what you want, it takes care of those steps for you. Immediately, take a look. It's removed that other image. It tells you what it's looking for. It's got different versions. Here's version 1, fraction action, adding and subtracting. It's going to generate a new image that hopefully fits with what you're wanting. You can have it rename the lesson. You can have it go through any individual step. We'll come back to that image while it's generating it. We're going to look farther down. Now, you can have this written on whatever level you want it. You can change Lexile levels. You can do whatever it is you want. If you don't like the question, you can click on what do you think is the challenge when trying to add 1/2 and 1/3 together? Just click within the question, change it to whatever you want. Click within your answers and change it. You have freedom. Add more questions, change them. Go into your question settings, work with it. Now, the other thing that you have to understand is that, the image is finished. Let's take a look. There's a more elementary themed image for fractions. You can come through here, and you remember down here where I told it to generate 5 multiple choice problems right here? That's in slide, right here, slide 4. That's where we're at, slide 4. I can tell Kira to change the questions in slide 4 from multiple choice to fill in the blank and short answer. I'm going to tell the 5 questions in slide 4 that were multiple choice to fill in the blank and short answer. And let's see what happens. Now, I understand that you've created this lesson, but you need to understand that this lesson is fluid. And even though it's being stored in the library in Kira, you can change it every time before you assign a new lesson. It is completely and totally up to you how you assign these lessons and what you do with them in the process. Now, let's kick it up another notch. I know you're thinking that this is a lot going on, and I know you're probably overwhelmed. Okay? You don't have to start with a whole lesson. Start with one small assignment. Start with just generating your independent practice problems for students. Then work up, add an explanation for a review, and then the practice problems. As you continue to do this, you're going to become more and more comfortable with Kira. Your lessons are going to get better. Some of those beginning ones you were real proud of, no offense, you're going to end up trashing those and you're going to keep moving forward. Pardon me. If we look here, those questions that were there have now been changed to a fill in the blank, short response. The Kira chat window is a replacement for all of the tools. It's designed to assist you in creating the lesson that you truly want. Again, anything can be done. The more comfortable you are with it, if you want to come down here and you just want to use the hotkeys and put stuff in the right spot, great, go for it. But if you're not exactly sure what you can do, ask Kira. Let her tell you, okay? Once you're done with everything, you can share your lesson. I can type in the name of anybody I want, give them view access, edit access. They'll copy it into their own library, whatever. Publish it so it's open and out there for anybody to use. You have full and total control of everything. I hope that I've answered some of the questions you have so far with this. Unfortunately, I think I accidentally turned the chat off earlier because I haven't been seeing a whole lot of questions come up. But that's neither here nor there. We'll do this again next week. If you got some questions, come on, jump back on. We'll get them knocked out. I'm going to be meeting every Wednesday from 6 to 7, with the exception I will take spring break off. And we'll make sure we put out that out there on social media so you can follow along. But Kira is designed for teachers to be able to go back to doing what you love, teaching the information, building relationships. You let Kira automate those tedious administrative daily tasks that just take up too much of your time. Now that you've got this lesson built and you've got it set up the way you like it, I'm going to scroll back up to the top just because I'm one of those people I like to be at the top when I leave. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit publish it. Why not? And again, if you want to see what it looks like, here you go. AI tutor right there for the students. Again, you see it won't give them answers, just works them through it. And the students are going to be locked and forced to complete step by step. The video content on the student view shows you the video is locked until 2 minutes and 18 seconds. They have to watch at least that much before they can answer the question and go to the next one. Once they complete all the steps, they'll be allowed to continue along. If you want to, you can go ahead and assign this to your class. Work your way through the section. Individual students, in case you're building a remediation for students who have been out for an extended period of time or whatever. Let's go back into the front side. Here is my Kira chat window. You know, I just built this lesson, fraction action, adding and subtracting with unlike denominators. But you know, I have a student who is a ELL student and they need some help. I would say translate the lesson I just created into Spanish. I'll go ahead. The lesson was fraction action, like the name, adding and subtracting with unlike denominators. Now here, if you take a look, working on it. it'll go ahead and convert that lesson into Spanish just so that student has it. It's going to take a time. It's going to go step by step, convert everything into Spanish as needed. Something else you could do. I don't know. Maybe you have students that are on multiple different levels, and while a lot of teachers only teach to the middle, you're realizing that your accelerated students really do need something that's going to challenge them more to keep them from being discipline problems in your classroom. Once that happens, now it's going to take her a few minutes to go through everything and get it done. But once that happens, you're going to come in here and you're going to tell Kira to differentiate that lesson for a grade above and a grade below as well. So she'll create it for your students who are emerging on their standards and need some additional help, make it a little bit easier for them. You can have it rewrite the material so that it's written on a third grade level for some of your readers who are struggling. They can do the math. They just have struggle with some of the words. So you have an option and the opportunity to do pretty much anything that you want. It has really been set up for you. Now, once you create all these lessons, where do they go? Take a look here in your library. We'll come back to that in a minute. In your library, you have different folders for different things. I created these folders. This is another account of mine. But I don't want to look at courses. Here, I want to look at lessons. And would you look here at the top? One of the very first lesson right here is fraction action, adding and subtracting with unlike denominators. I'm going to create a plus on the collection, and I'm going to rename that collection. I'm going to call it 5th grade math. Okay? You can upload an image or generate an image with AI if you want to. Once you're done, save it. And now you can actually take your lesson, and it's now been added to that collection. So when you go ahead and you open up your 5th grade math, it would have just your lessons that are in there. Go ahead and name those how you need, title them, whatever. Then you can always copy the resource, make sure it's one of your favorites, add it to another collection. When you open it up, you can go ahead and assign it. You can share that with whoever you want. Kira has gone so far to make sure that these resources are available to everybody. They want teachers to be successful. They want your students to be successful. This Course Studio, this is a new feature. We're going to get into it later. It allows you to build your entire course day 1 to day 180, whatever in here. Okay. But one thing that we didn't talk about is this right here, chat pods. Now, let's go take a look at this lesson. Okay. Let's go take a look at this lesson. When it comes up, we're somewhere down in here. I don't know. Let's pick somewhere around slide 10. Nope, slide 9. Okay. We're on slide 9. Independent practice. If you're familiar with a chat bot, then you know what a chat pod is. It's called a chat pod because Kira's an octopus. And you see these chat pods are open and put into your lessons when you want. You can have a chat pod as a standalone that you can use with your students for reviewing purposes. You can integrate the chat pod within the lesson. You set the time, you set how long it's open. Some school systems don't allow their students to use AI outside of the existing school day. Well, if that's the case, make sure it's turned off. When you set up your lessons, you choose whether or not the students can use AI. But if you want to integrate, I would say insert a chat pod. Now, it'll work with me to try to insert a chat pod and to set up the restrictions, and you get to before the oh, it actually is putting it here. I didn't tell it to put before. It's putting it before the exit ticket. So we'll need to look at the way that that works. But you understand that chat pods themselves can be used however you want with your students. You know what? Let's jump out. Let's come back over here to the chat pod itself. When you go in to create one, and here's the deal. You set it up for the grade. You call it, for fifth grade, we'll call it adding and subtracting fractions. Now here you put in the prompt that you want it to start, what you want your prompt to be, and it has an improved prompt. I'll just say help with solving problems, adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. Now, when I hit improve prompt, it'll take it a second. Boom. It's now changed that very basic prompt, which is usually the way that a lot of teachers put stuff in there. And it's changed that the students will be able to accurately add and subtract fractions with unlike denominators by finding common denominators, converting equivalent fractions, solving word and numeric Man, it's a whole lot. If you hit start, you're going to see a sample of what all is going to happen. We're going to do this. First thing it does is explain how you know your answer makes sense. What's 1/4 plus 1/4? It is 2/4. Now, I didn't explain. Nice work. You added numerators and all this because of here. Great. If you had 1/4 of a pizza and you got 2/4 more, how much more pizza? I mean, how much pizza would you have in total? Right? You can type it in words. You can insert math. All of this is here. When you go to create this chat pod, you pick out how this is going to work. You can launch the session. When you go to launch the session, you invite the class with a share code. You can give it to your whole class as a group. You can assign it just to an individual student who needed a little bit of remediation. And you created this real quick so they could just work one-on-one with that so they're not embarrassed having to ask questions in front of everybody else. Chat pods give you the freedom to really meet each student where they are and help bring them and get them to where they need to be. So don't sleep on chat pods. They're there for a purpose. Look, there's tons of stuff that I could show you with Kiro. And I mean, and we've just brushed the surface because all we have done is created an account, created a section, and created a lesson. Now, next week, when we get back into this, what I would like to do is I would like to show you how to take some of your existing materials that you have as a teacher. I would like to show you how to take those, load those in there, and then build an interactive student activity from what you already have. Because like I said, lots of teachers aren't looking for an entire lesson. They're looking for supplemental material. They're looking for ways to take what they've already curated, use it, and bring Kira in. And it can be used in both situations flawlessly. So next week, we're going to build a couple of custom lessons around material that you already have. We'll show you how to bring in your standards and objectives, explain to you what to do if they're not in there, and then show you how we get all of this ready to move forward. Kira 101 returns next week, which will be Wednesday, February the 25th. We're going to come on board a little early, play some music, whatever, but don't be afraid to drop in and let us know what's going on. If you got any questions, I would love to help you out. You know how to reach me. I'll take care of you any way I can. Like I told them before, I've never seen a hearse with a U-Haul behind it. I'm not taking nothing with me. I'm sharing what I got while I can. So if you got some questions, don't be afraid to ask. I would love to help you out. I appreciate your help this evening. And I want to tell you, I'm fixing to stop sharing my screen. So maybe you'll see me. But yeah, plain and simple. Let me know what you need. We'll get you taken care of. Thanks for stopping by, and reach out and let me know if you need something. Y'all have a good night.